Welcome to this episode of the Python tutorial series, where we will be exploring loops in Python. Loops are a fundamental construct in programming that allow you to repeat a set of instructions multiple times. We'll be covering the two types of loops in Python, for loop and while loop. First, let's start with the for loop. A for loop is used to iterate over a sequence such as a list, a tuple, or string. Here is an example. We could have for item in a list, which a list could be something like A, B, and C, and then we ask to print item. In this example, we have a list of letters, and we use a for loop to iterate over each item in the list and print the result. The output will be like this: A, B, and C print here. But we could do it another way. For example, I can save this list as a ls variable here, and then I can say that for item in ls, the printing and the result is the same. Notice that we use the keyword for to start the loop, followed by variable names, in this case item, that will represent each item in the list, in the sequence. We then use a colon to indicate the start of the loop body, which is indented by for space, like if statement, and simply we print the result. Next, let's move on to the while loop. But before we move on to the next item, I can say that we could have loops and iteration over a list. For example, we could say that we have a list, and we could print I times I for I in the list 3, 4, 5. This is a compact way for a loop iterator, and in this example, we have a list of I times I for I in this list, which I is iterated over 3, 4, and 5. And if I print the result, you can see that the first item I is 3. We have I 3 times 3, then I is 4. We have 4 times 4, and then I is 5, and the item on the list is 5 times 5. Then in this way, we have a compact way to having iteration over list, and this is very useful technique that we could use. A while loop is used to repeat a set of instructions as long as a certain condition is true. Let's have an example of a while loop. For example, I have a number n, which is equal to 10, and I can say while n is less than 20, print n, and then increment n by 1 unit or 2 units, for example. And as long as the condition is true, it prints the number n and increment n by 1 unit, and then repeat the while loop. In this example, we start with 10. 10 is less than 20, print 10, increment 10 by 1 unit is 11. Check the result, 11 is less than 20, then print 11, go increment 11 by 1 unit, is say it is now 12, and so on until 19. When n is 19, print 19, and then increment n by 1 unit, which is 20. Check that 20 is not less than 20, so exit the loop, and we don't have any other option. So the number which will be printed which is 10 until 19. But here we have a while loop, and we have a statement here and the block after while statement will be executed until the statement here is true. And you can see that we have 10 until 19. In addition to this basic concept, there are a few other things you should know about loops in Python. For example, you can use the range function to generate a sequence of numbers to iterate over. For example, we could have this kind of for loop. For example, for I in range 10, print I. Range 10 is a list of numbers from 0 to 9. Generally, range n is a list of numbers from 0 to n minus 1. And in this example, we have a list of numbers from 0 to 9. Also, we could have a limit in the range function, and we can say, okay, from 3 to 10, which is a number from 3 to 9. And this is a result, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can also use the break and continue statement to control the flow of the loop. Break will immediately exit the loop, while continue will skip the rest of the current iteration and move to the next one. Let me show you an example. For example, I have a list of, for example, for item in ls or ABC, A, B, and C. We could have a condition like if item equal to B, then break. In this case, the first item is A, is not equal to B, and we could say, okay, then here is print item. It prints item A. But the next item is B, and it breaks and exits the whole for loop, and then the only result is A. But continue means that just skip this case and continue iteration. So with continue, we have A and C, and you can see the differences. And that's it for this episode of Python tutorial series on loop. We covered the basic concept of for loop and while loop, as well as a few other things to keep in mind. With these tools in your toolkit, you should be able to write more powerful and flexible programs in Python. Thanks for watching.